Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Granth Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, 18th chapter, the perfection of renunciation, text number 5.
Take some time.
Yagyadana tapa karma natyajyam karyameva tat yagyodanam tapaschaiva pavanani manishinam. Yagya of sacrifice, dana charity, natyajyam dana charity, tapa and penance, karma activity, na never, tyajyam to be given up, karyam must be done, eva certainly, tat that, yagya sacrifice, danam charity, tapa penance, cha also, eva certainly, pavanani purifying, manishinam even for the great souls. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not to be given up. They must be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity, and penance purify even the great souls. Purport. The yogis should perform acts for the advancement of human society. There are many purificatory processes for advancing a human being to spiritual life. The marriage ceremony, for example, is considered to be one of these sacrifices. It is called Vivaha Yagya. Should a sannyasi who is in a renounced order of life and who has given up his family relations encourage the marriage ceremony, the Lord says here that any sacrifice which is meant for human welfare should never be given up. Vivaha Yagya, the marriage ceremony, is meant to regulate the human mind so that it may become peaceful for spiritual advancement. For most men, this Vivaha Yagya should be encouraged, even by persons in the renounced order of life. Sannyasis should never associate with women, but that doesn't mean that one who is in the lower stages of life, a young man, should not accept a wife in the marriage ceremony. All prescribed sacrifices are meant for achieving the Supreme Lord. Therefore, in the lower stages, they should not be given up. Similarly, charity is for the purification of the heart. If charity is given to suitable persons, as described previously, it leads one to advanced spiritual life. Yagyadana tapa karma natyajyam karyameva tat yagyodanam tapaschaiva pavanani manishinam. Acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not to be given up. They must be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity, and penance purify even the great souls. Om Adhyanti Mirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Mayam Tadati Svapadantikam Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityanando Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkripanam vande Sri Gurudinataranam Paramanandamanavam Sri Chaitanyeshwaram Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Happy Pandavanirjal Ekadasi. So, here, the Lord is explaining what is sacrifice, charity, and penance. Oftentimes, living entities, they have the wrong idea. When you hear of sacrifice, you think like what? Human sacrifice, like, what are we going to do? Throw things in the fire or, give things up. But Krishna is telling us that these activities have to be connected to the Lord. They can't just be out of whimsical, capricious acts or concoction. You see so much of that going on nowadays, right? People doing different types of sacrifice. Like you see early in the morning, we're doing Mangalakti, people already on the job, right? Why you have to go to office at 6 o'clock? Is there a need for that? No, not really. Except greed. Except I want to be ahead of the game. But it's not really required. And if people think, yes, I'm sacrificing for myself, for my family, for my country, for my nation. But because when these activities are performed in the mode of ignorance and passion, they usually give a contrary result. Same like charity. You've been downtown, people come up to you, they ask you for money. Do you give them money?
Sometime before.
If it's a Hare Krishna, right? Yeah. But if it's just your regular suspect, what will you use the money for?
Sinful activities.
Sinful activities, exactly. So who is responsible for that? You, because you gave him the money. So you thought, okay, let me do something good, but it was not very well thought out and not very well executed. It was just a notion, oh yeah, let me be a nice person. Like somebody is sick and they say, oh, give me fried things. People like fried things here, right? You noticed? Like my taxiwala who came to drop me here from Nikari, he stopped a couple of times to get some snack, something fried. And he had to get something fried. I was, the guy's 23 years old and he's like huge. I'm like, hey, slow down, boy. You're sitting in a car all day. You're not working in the field. So, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. Then, of course, penance. People are taking on so much austerity. But for what cause? They're doing it for business. They're doing it for sports. They're doing it for so many short-term results. But they're not really seeing the greater picture. They're not really seeing the ultimate goal. Why am I doing and for who am I doing it? Now, Prabhupada in the purport, he's speaking about Vivahayagya, the marriage ceremony. And he's commenting that sometimes he's being criticized because he's a sannyasi, yet he arranges for marriages, even sometimes conducted marriage ceremonies for his disciples. So he said, certainly for a sannyasi, this is not a requirement, but people who are in the lower stages of life, younger people, for them, this is a sacrifice. Yes, you have to commit to one person and you have to be faithful and dedicated to this one person for life. So that's austerity, that's a sacrifice. Promiscuity is a big issue nowadays. So if a young person can be dedicated to one spouse for their life, that is a big sacrifice. That is a big achievement. And therefore, it should be encouraged. Therefore, it is recommended in the Vedic scriptures. But nowadays, people say, no, we don't want any of this. We don't want any rules. This is all archaic. This is all from the old times, right? We're living in the new times now, in the modern times. And every generation has the same idea. Now, there's nothing wrong with innovation until it is rooted, it is based on tradition. Because if you don't have tradition, you have nothing to stand on. You don't have any substance. So nowadays, people are just making up many things out of whim, out of their own idea. And then it doesn't end up being so great. Mhm. Like a friend of mine was telling me, Vasheshika Prabhu, one of my Shiksha gurus, that when he was like in his early teens, he had a mood of detachment. He wanted to meditate and be a yogi, a spiritual person. So he thought, okay, let me give up my home. So he just walked out of his house, went on the street, and started walking down the street. And when he reached a certain point, he stopped and he was thinking, should I go back and get my bicycle? You know, like I might need it, right? And he turned around and went back home and he stayed home and he realized, I'm not there yet, you know? Like if you still have this idea of like, okay, all right, I have to renounce. So what I'm going to take? There's a saying that if you go to Vrindavan, your fortune will follow you. Many people in India had, not anymore, but they had this romantic notion that let me go to a holy place and retire. But then they gave all their property to their family members and said, just send me 500 rupees per month, you know, and I'll pick it up at the post office like that. So that's why the saying was, if you go to Vrindavan, your fortune will follow you. But the Goswamis, they had a different attitude. They went to Vrindavan because they were searching out Krishna. And they were just sitting under different trees, sleeping on the trees, different tree every night, not to get attached. And Hey Radhe Brajadevi Ke Chalalite, Hey Nanda Surakuta, Hey Krishna, Hey Radha, where are you? They were searching out Krishna. They were compiling books about Krishna, chanting lakhs of rounds and of names, and being fully absorbed in devotional service. Just like when Raghunath Das Goswami was a young man, he was the sole heir to the family fortune. He had a beautiful wife, he had great prospects, but there was one problem, that he was mad after Lord Chaitanya. And he wanted to get away from his comfortable situation. So the family got him back. So Mahaprabhu gave him the advice, don't behave like a stupid person. Just wait for your time to come and enjoy religiously, but prepare yourself, don't be attached. And Krishna will answer your prayers. So there is austerity in every ashram, in every stage of life. If you're a student, you have to be austere because you don't have money, and you have to learn, you have to pass exams. Then in married life, you have to work and create a family, create a home, and an environment of prosperity, and hopefully also spiritual life. Then in retired life, one is withdrawing from economic activity and from sense gratification and fully dedicating to spiritual practice. Not anymore, oh, I have so many connections, I know people, I can get things done, I make one call, people start moving. No, one gives up those things. And then renounced life, fully dedicated to the service of the Lord. It says that a brahmachari, he learns how to live. A grihastha learns how to live with the world. A vanaprastha learns how to live without the world. And a sannyasi, he has fully dedicated himself for the service of the Lord, and thus he can serve everybody. He's not attached or artificially repulsed from anything or anyone. He moves carefree because he has accepted the whole world as objects of his service, of Krishna's compassion. So this is true renunciation. So the chapter is entitled The Perfection of Renunciation. Because sometimes we have this strange idea that I need to renounce, right? You have that idea sometimes? A little bit? I need to renounce. I need to be more renounced, right? Then you put all your things on the road, right? And you say, okay, free stuff, help yourself. And what happens Monday morning? You're back at the mall shopping for better stuff, right? You want better, nicer, newer things. That's not the whole idea about renunciation. Mm-hmm. I once asked a devotee, okay, when is enough enough? And he said, enough is if you don't need another of those situations. You don't plan to get more. Till then, just stay content with what you have. Don't think you're artificially renounced. So here Arjuna is asking all these questions because he wanted to become a yogi, he wanted to renounce. And Krishna told him, no, you have to fight your fight, but fight it for me. And that will be true renunciation. Otherwise, if you immaturely renounce and you go to the forest, then what people say? Oh, look, there's Arjuna. Let's go and fight him. And you will be forced to fight, but you'll be in a disadvantageous position because you're pretending to be a yogi who is forced to fight. Right now you're a kshatriya, and you can use your free will to do the right thing, to defend dharma. And that is what you should be doing. So Krishna gave him all the different options, and he expected Arjuna to do the right thing. So that is our situation. The only thing we own is a little bit of free will. Where do we repose our free will? With Krishna? Or with our own idea? We have our own idea, right? We already made up our idea. What I like, what I don't like. But that idea hasn't worked out so great. Have you noticed? That we ran into trouble a few times along the way? Because our plan wasn't so complete, so well thought out. Like my friend, Vaisheshika Prabhu, who walked down the street and thought, I give up the world. And then realized, bicycle, maybe sleeping bag, maybe some provisions, maybe some food. What if I run out of money? What am I going to do? And then he realized, maybe I'm not quite there yet. Maybe I'm not quite there yet. So Prabhupada left Vrindavan to bring Vrindavan to the world. And that's why he was always in Vrindavan. He never left Vrindavan. Just like when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was initiated by his Gurudev, Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Babaji Maharaj gave him 3 instructions. Never leave Mayapur. Never accept disciples. What was the third one? Anyway, what did Bhaktisiddhanta do? He went to Calcutta, he started Gaudiya Math, and he accepted 60,000 disciples. So it looks like he done the exact opposite of what his Gurudev told him to do. But no, that's not the case. He understood the spirit that never think yourself to be the big teacher. He saw, okay, these are 60,000 people, and I am their servant. I'm serving them as Guru, as their teacher, to engage them in devotional service for Krishna's satisfaction. And he went to Calcutta, but actually he never left Mayapur because he went to expand the glories of Mayapur. And he saw that the need was there to go to Calcutta to incorporate the Gaudiya Math. So we have to know the context, and we have to understand not just the letter of the law, but the spirit of the law. Like the letter of the law says nirjal, right? Why? Because Bhima could not fast. And so he had that sanction that if you just fast, fully dry fast once a year, then that will make up for all the other Ekadashis that you can't follow. Now, for us, if you follow Ekadashi the way Srila Prabhupada wanted us to follow Ekadashi, you're good. Now, if you can also do Nirjal, fine. fair enough, but don't make a religion out of it, because Prabhupada never did. He was never hard on these rules, on these details. It was 4 eggs, 16 rounds, and no grains and beans on Ekadasi. So a lot of things came later from the other side of the river. This month, that month, this one, that one. Historians can figure out who did what. One time, Panditji Pradyumna, Prabhupada's Sanskrit editor, and also his Purohit, his Pandit, he asked Prabhupada how he should perform the initiation yagya, because there's different ways how to do yagyas. And Prabhupada, he leaned forward and he said one word: shortcut. Shortcut. Which means it's a ritual. Just like sometimes people say, no dhoti, no devotee. Where is your dhoti? Prabhu. Prabhu. No dhoti, no devotee. No tilak. Or they say, why you have such small sikha? It's a symbol. Whether a symbol is small or medium or huge, sometimes people have whole head is sikha, right? And you go like, are you a Rasta? Or are you a Bhakta? What are you? So don't get caught up in the details. Otherwise, you can't see the forest for the trees. We have to understand the spirit of the law. So the spirit today should be to read and chant and remember and serve Krishna more, and to do less of the bodily activities. But if all day we're thinking food, and water, and I can't do nothing, and I just lay on my back. A few times Prabhupada saw the devotees on Ekadasi, they were just lying down. And I think Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also had that. And then he said, just get up and eat, it's useless. It's useless. You're not doing nothing. You have to do service. Otherwise, in the name of being very spiritual and very renounced, I can't do nothing. And some people have this wrong idea that now I'm a spiritual person. I can't touch money. I can't do this. I can't do that. Prabhupada said, money, give me the money. I'll engage it in Krishna's service. No, have this idea of like, it's all Krishna's energy. It's all Krishna's energy. So these are topics that are being contextualized by our acharyas, by their own example, and we should follow our own acharyas and not others who are either smartalign, they're very stuck in ritual mode, or they have their own ulterior motive because it's good for their business. Like scholars, like pundits, like intellectuals, they have their own idea on everything because that suits them. But we're not here trying to push our own agenda. That's why Prabhupada called this Bhagavad Gita as it is. He says if somebody wants to do something else, well, fine, but then write your own book. Don't smoke through the hand of somebody else, and say, I'm clean. I'm not doing any bad stuff. So that's not honesty. So Krishna has a purpose, why he said what he said, and that's why we're following Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who are giving us Krishna consciousness in an unchanged way. And yes, there's so many groups, there's so many mats, there's so many Hindu societies, but as a wife and a husband have to be chaste and faithful to each other, in a similar way, we should be chaste and faithful to Srila Prabhupada and to this ISKCON institution. Of course, it's not always easy, but whoever said it will be easy. Institution means there's bureaucracy, there's laws, there's legislation, there's things that we may not like, but there's the good side to it, that institutions, they sustain, whereas individuals, they're here today and gone tomorrow. And that's why Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wanted a GBC, he wanted a structure, an organization, but his disciples did not follow that. And that's why Gaudiya Math fell apart. Because cults and cult leaders, even if it's a good cult and a good cult leader, cult can also mean just religious organization. Cult means rite, Then they are here for a short time because people have a short time here on this planet. So, these are some reflections on today's topic and verse. If you have reflections, comments, or questions, now is a good time. And don't ask me, when is Ekadashi Param? He can tell us. What is the time? 6:29? Okay, by 6:30 tomorrow morning. You're good.
There was a similar story about I think Mother India or something like that. The Guru gave him a mantra. And he would tell him,
Couldn't?
one of the acharyas, the Guru gave him a mantra that don't speak.
No, that was Ramanujacharya.
Acharya.
Yeah, his guru. His guru. Koshtipurna. He gave him mantra. After Ramanuja came like 17 times. He went to see him. Finally, he got initiation. And the guru gave him the mantra, but he gave him one condition. Don't tell this mantra to anybody. Because this mantra will give liberation. You can go to Vaikuntha. What was the mantra that he gave him? Om Namo Narayanaya. So what did Ramanuja do after initiation? He went to the marketplace and he went up on the tower and he screamed and yelled, "Listen up, everybody! I got the mantra that will give liberation. You chant this mantra, you go to Vaikuntha. Om Namo Narayanaya." And so people were mesmerized. They started chanting the mantra. And word got to Goshipurna, and he was furious. He was besides himself for anger. He just initiated this young guy, and now he's doing exactly opposite of what he told him to do. So he said, "You remember what I told you, and I can curse you, you can go to hell, this, that, and the other thing." And Ramanuja said, "Yes, I'm willing to take that risk. I'm willing to take that risk so that everyone else will go to Vaikuntha." And his guru realized, my disciple is more advanced than I am. And he cooled down. So we have to understand the spirit of the law, not just the letter of the law. Otherwise,
This should be our spirit, right? Instead of ourselves, try to give Krishna consciousness. This should be our mood, right?
Yeah, otherwise we get absorbed in me. No, I can't do this, I can't do that. Oh no, I can't go out and talk to people, they're karmis, I'll get contaminated. Well then, how are you going to get purified if you don't do the yajna? Otherwise it just becomes spiritual narcissism. We just do everything for ourselves instead of for Krishna. Krishna says, he says, surrender to my plan, to my desire, So Arjuna, the gopis, everyone had to do things that they wouldn't like to do ordinarily because some people would object, they would criticize, but they understood what was needed for the pleasure of Krishna. And in a similar way, we also, and that means we need a sangha. We need a sangha of devotees so we can actually understand. Is it Falgu Vairagya? Is it artificial renunciation? Like I meet so many young guys who are, saying, "Oh, I want to become a brahmachari, I want to become a sannyasi, I want to do this, I want to do that." What they're basically saying is, I don't want to take responsibility. I don't want to have this whole drag. Because a householder is a person who holds a house, You ever tried to hold a house? It's like Hercules, right? Holding the planet Earth, right? I don't know, do all this, too much headache, too much work, too much commitment. I want to be free. You heard that song, right? And then the whole family turns against them and puts the guns to their head and say, "Kiddo, get married now, or else." You see this? And no matter what you tell them, they will do the opposite. Have you noticed? You tell them, "Don't get married," they'll get married. You tell them get married, they don't get married. So just let them roast in their own fat. You know, like it's not. They have to make up their own decision, their own mind.
Sometimes you have difficulty with this idea of what should I do?
Yeah. What should I do? Should I get married or should I take sannyas? You know, right? It's always these two choices, right? Well, if you have that dilemma, then most likely you should get married. So everything in its proper time. There's a timeline for everything. As it is stated here in Prabhupada's purport, for a young man, the young woman, to get married is the right thing to do. For an old man, it's not so advisable, especially if they already tried. So we have to see what is our situation. And context you can only understand when you can contextualize, you know, as a topic. That's why it's called samvad, vada. You have to have this purva paksha. You have to have this ability to discuss and see things from different angles and see the different options and outcomes. And for that you need a community of practitioners. Sadhu Shastra and Guru. Okay, other points?
I think last year we should get a big Harinam party instead of just doing this.
Yeah, that'd be great. We do a special Ekadasi Harinam. Otherwise, everybody just doing their own little thing. It becomes a little,
Helpless like this.
yeah, small-minded. The point should be, okay, what can I do for the world? And you notice that when you get busy for Krishna, you don't even notice that you're fasting. Otherwise, you're just counting hours and minutes and seconds, and everything becomes very difficult. But when we are concerned for the benefit of others, then we can see how Krishna takes care of us. That's why Prahlad Maharaj says, Naivod Vijay Paraduratya Yavaitaranyas Tadviryagayana Mahamrita Magna Chitta Shochetito Vimukucheta Saindriyartam Maya Sukhayam Paramodvahato Vimudhan. When I see these fools and rascals who are engaged in Maya Sukha, in temporary, flickering sense enjoyment, I feel pain at heart, and I'm making plans. How can I help them? How can I liberate them? How can I benefit them? That was the mood of Prabhupada. And prayena deva munayaksva vimuktikama maunam charanti vijanena parartanishta naitan vihaya kripanan vimukshayeko nanyan tadasya sharanam brahmato nupashye. Don't go to the forest, to the Himalayas, or to the remote places, but go to the big cities where the people are. And you meet them there, and you give them Krishna consciousness. That will be true renunciation. One time, Harikesh Prabhu, he was sent to Russia, and he told Prabhupada, but what, there's nothing to eat there, you know, like Moscow. Nothing to eat there. Prabhupada said, then eat meat, but preach! Now, he didn't want him to eat meat, but he just made the point that preaching is more important than your idea of renunciation. Like Prabhupada came on Jaladuta, he had small pericartals, 200 sets of first canto, and a little bag of cereal, you know, a few oats, just in case. He didn't know whether there would be any food. But he had full faith in the instruction of his spiritual master and in Krishna's proclamation. Kantiya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashati. So, if you're still worried about your pension fund and about your investments and about your, you know, health insurance and all these things, then maybe you're not there yet. You're not yet in the renounced order of life. That there's nothing wrong of making provisions for oneself and for one's family, but then we should acknowledge, okay, I'm not there yet. I'm more in a position of householder. And that means, like Lord Chaitanya, his first wife died and he married again. Because householder doesn't mean just a person who lives in a house, but he should have a wife, otherwise it's not a householder. Nowadays we see like bachelor daddies, you know, they're mid-30s, even 40s, still living with mom because she's cooking nice and she's taking care of me and, you know, laundry's there and everything is good, you know. And I don't have to worry about a thing. Huh? But they don't want to move out because it's too comfortable. So that's not the way how to move in the world. Other questions or comments? Okay. Happy, happy. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hare Hare.
Mother, the program was still 8, right? Can you do some kirtan?
Yeah, the street.
Sorry?
On the road.
Huh?
On the road. Let's go.
What? Going out for doing Harinam? No, good luck.
Not sure if that's so safe.
Anyway, somebody wants to do bhajan or
Maybe
kirtan?
we can do some kirtan.
Yeah,
Say the bishop.
carry on. Absolutely.
Kirtan with the
These are better. The others are two different ones.
This is some kirtan.